Hey everybody, it's GomletX and welcome back to the Arena Decathlon for event number 10. The Arena Decathlon is a series of 10 events with the goal of acquiring a token from as many different formats as possible. We have 9 out of 10 as of today, so we're going to be heading into the final event here, which is On the Edge. This is basically a standard tournament, but instead of being able to use every set in standard, you only get to use cards from Streets of New Capenna, Dominaria United, and their Brothers' War. Here's the deck I'm going to be running today. I did find this deck list directly from MTGA Zone. Highly recommend the website. They do great articles and deck lists for basically every kind of special format, every event coming up. So highly recommend the website. I am unaffiliated in any way. That's just a genuine recommendation. But there will be a link in the description below to check out their post about this deck list on their website. And there will also be the deck list in the description below if you just want to import that directly to Arena. Pretty self-explanatory deck here. This is just a mono black aggro deck. This is very similar to what you would see in standard, and that's what makes this one of the strongest decks in the On the Edge format. It's got almost every single tool that these mono black aggro decks use in full-on standard. This format still has Sheoldred in there, it's still got Liliana, it's got Gix to let you refuel your hand, it still has the underdogs in there to give you that late game longevity, being able to blitz these back from your grave and get more damage in. Still got the very efficient removal that mono black has of the playset of Cut Down, the playset of Go for the Throat. So really, mono black does not lose a lot, only being able to use cards from the newest 3 sets, because a lot of its best cards are from the newest 3 sets. So again, pretty self-explanatory deck. I'll go over everything really quickly though. From cheapest to most expensive, the conscripts are nice, giving you a high power creature for only 1 mana. These also give you another card that can recur from the graveyard. It's always nice because you're often going to find yourself holding up a little bit of extra mana for a Cut Down or a Go for Throat or something from like turn 4 onwards potentially, and then if your opponent does some kind of board wipe, all of a sudden you get to use that extra mana to bring your Skeleton Warrior back and still have something on the board after a board wipe. Evolved Sleeper is a really flexible, very powerful card. It's a cheap creature that's going to start hitting pretty hard as soon as you evolve it once or twice, and it also gets to double as a card draw engine later in the game. You can just start dumping all your mana into it to draw a bunch of cards. For non-creature stuff here, we have Cut Down and Go for the Throat, both being very self-explanatory, just very efficient removal spells. They are staples in Standard, and it's no different in On the Edge. The one thing that I would say is that our removal spells are pretty bad against big artifact decks, because obviously Go for the Throat can't kill any artifact creatures, and Cut Down can't kill any big creatures. So some of the worst matchups we could end up in are going to be decks that ramp into these big artifact threats, because we just don't really have anything to deal with them. So that is something to be a little worried about. Maybe you can make your own little adjustments if you want to have a better plan, a better chance against those kind of creatures. But everything else, these are really good against. Super great in the mirror match, super great against blue-white soldiers, and those are going to be some of the decks that you play against the absolute most. For 2 mana creatures, we have Misery's Shadow. This is a great card, making it so whenever your opponent's creatures die, they get exiled. Super good against a lot of stuff in the format. If you're in the mirror match, you're going to exile their underdogs when they die so that they can't blitz them back from the grave. If you're against blue-white soldiers, you're exiling any of their unearthed cards so that they can't unearth them from the grave. And this also lets you just dump all your mana into buffing this up to win whatever combat it gets into. Very nice card. Underdog, of course, already spoke about this a little bit, but very high power for the mana cost, plus it's got that ability to give you more value from the grave later and keep threatening your opponent's life total with some blitzing attacks. At 3 mana, we have Gix Yawgmoth Praetor. This is one of the best cards in the deck. One of the quickest ways to ensure that you're going to win a game is to just curve out on the play a 1 mana creature, play a 2 mana creature, and then have Gix be your turn 3 play. If your opponent doesn't have interaction for that pretty much immediately, then you're going to be able to draw 1 or 2 cards by hitting your opponent with your first 2 creatures just right off the bat, which is a huge, huge swing. And if Gix isn't dealt with very quickly, Gix makes sure you just never run out of gas, and you get to keep just dumping stuff on the board, throwing 1-for-1 removal spells at your opponent, and just staying ahead in cards. So Gix is pretty ridiculous. The 7 mana ability is really funny, it's kind of cute, but that's almost never It's almost never going to happen or going to be what you're really running Gix for. Phyrexian Fleshgorger is a little bit similar, not in the card draw sense, but in the fact that we're basically running this as the 3-mana effect. The whole 7-mana effect is not going to be relevant very often, but just a 3-mana 3/3 Menace lifelinker with Ward of paying 3 life is already just great in an aggressive deck. Menace is super good with Gix. It makes it easier for this card to get in, forces your opponent into double blocks, and when they're forced into double blocks, you can find some really nice 2-for-1s off of your removal spells. Say you attack with this into 2 of their 2/2s or their 2/2 and 2/3 or something. All of a sudden, because they were forced to double block there if they wanted to block, you get to cut down their 2/3 and kill their 2/2 without losing your Fleshgorger. So Menace Lifelink, just a huge combination of abilities. The Ward being ridiculous in an aggro deck as well. But yeah, the Lifelink just making it really good in aggro mirrors makes it so it's really hard to race the card. So super, super good stuff there. Of course, have a couple Lilianas, one of the strongest planeswalkers in Standard. Probably the strongest planeswalker in Standard. Definitely the strongest planeswalker in On the Edge. Just a very good card here. I'm almost always happy to just play Liliana, make them sack a creature, and let them kill Liliana the turn after. Like, that's just good value already. You've gotten rid of one of their cards and soaked up some damage, and that's kind of like the worst case scenario for Liliana. I just take it as a huge bonus when I get lucky and I get to make them sack a creature and then start +1ing multiple times. That's where Liliana just runs away with the game. But again, such a powerful effect, even to just pay 3 mana and use it as a 3-mana removal spell that becomes kind of a half fog the next turn, soaking up some damage for you. So you'll definitely see some lines like that where it's like, yeah, I'll just kill a thing and then let them kill Liliana, sure. And then finally we have Sheoldred, the Apocalypse, the best black card in Standard, the best black card printed in quite a while. 4 mana for a 4/5 Death Toucher. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. This card is so good that even though it's legendary, we still run a full play set because you really want to be able to just put another one down if your opponent kills this one, and if your opponent doesn't kill the first one, you're probably going to win the game. So it doesn't really matter if you get a second one cluttering up your hand, you're already in a great position there. Just drains your opponent for life throughout the game while being a ridiculously large body for the mana cost. Sheoldred, an excellent card. And for the mana base, 22 swamps, 2 Mishra's Foundries. So obviously mono black, so we want a lot of swamps. We do have a lot of double black effects, so we don't want too many colorless abilities, so we only have the 2 colorless lands, the Mishra's Foundries, to give us some creature lands to be able to beat our opponent up with them if we have nothing else to do with our mana or if we're flooding out a little bit. So that is the deck list we're running today, again taken directly from MTGA Zone. Highly recommend the website, link in the description below to all that stuff if you want to check out more information on the deck list or if you want to import the deck list to Arena. But outside of that, with the whole deck list out of the way, let's just get into the gameplay. Now, this gameplay was streamed live at the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, so that's why there's a face cam going on. That's why I'm talking to chat a little bit. But other than that, let's just get into it. Let's see. Looks like a snap keep. Obscura's Storefront is the first play from our opponent, so they're definitely multicolored. Could be some deck that uses Rafine, some kind of Obscura deck. Obviously, if they're using the Obscura Storefront, that's pretty self-explanatory. Evolved Sleeper turn 1. Blue-white for sure. Surge Engine is the play. That's going to be a very big target for cut down. As soon as they make it a 5/4, I can't kill it anymore, but I can still kill it with cut down right now. I'll also evolve my first Sleeper to kill it. It took me a couple Omniscience attempts, but I just uploaded the winning run. So that is spoilers, but it'd take me a few. I'm just going to cut down while they're tapped out. I have no idea what they're playing here, so just make it easy to play around any counter spells or anything. Lay down arms. Exile one of my sleepers. Still gotta go for the throat. I don't know how good that's gonna be. The only creature they played so far is an artifact. Another laydown arms. This exiling my graveyard recursion card's pretty rough. I'm going to evolve to get extra damage in here and just play the 2-1. Hits them just as hard as anything else here. It's turn lesson. They might be one of these decks that just ramps into the gigantic prototype artifacts and just wins from there. Pretty bad matchup for us if we can't kill them quickly. Because if they get to the late game plays and they are one of those kind of decks, then they will demolish us with the big stuff. Alright, Mightstone and Weakstone. They could have blue-white Urza in there. They are a blue-white deck. I'm going to draw 2 cards here, or hold up, go for the throats. I'm going to draw a couple cards here. That should be a very big deal. Alright. I just completely refilled my hand with the Gix, so that's very fine. Drop a Sheoldred past turn. Witness Protection Sheoldred, that's fine. Still attack them with her. I think I'm just going to play some Misery Shadows. It's just like a dedicated blue-white control deck. Another Witness Protection, sure. They'll hit them for 2 damage a turn. There's an Urza. They don't have the mana to immediately flip, so I'm gonna go for Liliana, make them sacrifice it. And if that doesn't work, I can go for the throat. Okay. Well, we got rid of the Urza. And they've got no cards left. Oops. I hate that spacebar automatically pays the 2. That's so dumb. God dang it. I was just trying to space through to skip through all of their steps. I should have had a sleeper on the board as a 2-2 already. I was literally just spacebar auto pays for taxing spells even if you can't afford it. It's a very good top deck. They don't get anything back until their upkeep. I'm gonna lose a non-skeleton, so I think I'm just gonna Cult Conscript here. I'm just gonna have to keep go for the throating my Sheoldred. Ooh. Fleshgorger's good. I can afford to do that and still kill the Sheoldred. They could go for Urza here. Is Urza's ability instant speed? No, it's sorcery speed, so I can kill Urza as well. So Urza's back, but the ability is sorcery speed, so I can go for the throat the Urza. Yes. They're playing off the top. Alright, there's a Gix, which is pretty great. I hit for 5, draw 2 cards. They're going to be at 1. A physics creature. Another go for the throat would be exceptional. Foundry's fine. Play that now so it doesn't have summoning sickness next turn. I pick up Urza again. They're going to try to flip Urza and survive with that. Can't do anything about it. Alright, flip the Urza.
This is why you summoned me.
Just make 4 1/1s here, I guess.
Each device has a role in my plan.
Yeah, make 4 1/1s.
My army.
There's a Lauren that blows up my Fleshgorger, but they have to pay 3 life to target it, so that doesn't work. It's just a 2/1. Okay, end step, we're going to cut down one of these, and they're tapped out, so I should be able to animate attack with everybody and win because of Menace. Yep. They scoop them up, we win because we have 1 Menace creature and 3 others. They can block the 3, but then they can't block the Menace, or they can block the Menace, but then they only block 2. That was sketchy. That was really sketchy. That top-decked Portal to Phyrexia was almost enough to really stabilize them. That would have been really tilting if I lost too, because I would have lost because I just space-barred through trying to skip through their spells and accidentally just auto-paid for a counterspell I couldn't counter anyway. They've got some goblin sleeves here, but they're blue-white soldiers. Lies and deceits. Lies and deceits from our opponent's sleeves. This is going to be an aggro mirror match. Sheoldred's hopefully pretty good in the matchup. I think they only have like a couple removal spells. 4 lay down arms in the mono-white version. I don't know about the blue-white version. I don't know how much removal they'll have. Hopefully not a lot. Hey Lunaski, how's it going? They will not have Brutal Cathar. This is the On the Edge event. You cannot play Brutal Cathar. This is Dominaria United, Brothers War, and Capenna. Valiant Veteran. I take 3 here. Or I trade Sleeper. Got nothing great to do next turn. I might just go for the Throat Veteran. They don't even attack anyway. Alright, well, my options are to evolve to a 3/3 or blow up a creature. I can't do both. So they could just block my Sleeper with their Officer, which doesn't feel great. Conscript's still a solid attacker. We just send that and pass. Might be go for throwing the Veteran because it takes 5 mana for them to exile it and get counters later. That mostly deals with it for now. And we're definitely tapping out for Sheoldred next turn. So we need to get this Go for the Throat out of the way. Baird. Baird gives them another 1/1 soldier every time they go to their end step, as long as the Valiant Veteran's on board or they have a +1/+1 counter. Frontliner would also trigger Baird, so I almost think I'd rather kill Baird than the Veteran. Why does it... Oh my god. I was just letting them go through their combat step and it immediately skipped straight to the end step. It didn't give me a main phase 2 ability to go for the throat before Baird triggered. Well, that's 2 huge Magic Arena punts. That's so frustrating. Digitalmagic.exe. I guess I kill the Veteran then, and Baird doesn't trigger this turn at least. But we do have to worry about Baird plus Frontliner coming up. Got the Sheoldred for the big blocker, and we drain life from them. Conscript is still a solid attacker. And they're down to 11. because they just are not wanting to trade into the Conscript. They are 3-color soldiers here, so they're going to have a lot more access to removal than I thought they would. Because the mono-white version pretty much just has lay-down arms, but I have no idea when they have all 3 colors, they could have whatever removal they want, really. Alright, Harbin. They've got enough soldiers that if they attack with everybody with Harbin, then they will give the whole board flying. Obviously not great. Baird is going to give them a soldier. Okay. 2 mana to make this a 3/3, another 3 to make it a 4/4 and draw a card. Better than just playing more creatures. I'm going to hit entirely in the sky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. They can hit me for 20 if they use Veteran. If they use Frontliner, they hit me for 18. Neither of those are lethal. How do they kill a Sheoldred here? 1 blocks. They have to block with 2 2/2s and a 1/1, or a 3/2 and a 2/2. I think Sheoldred trades are good for me. And I'm not going to be able to block anything because of Harbin anyway, so I think I sent in the squad. Trump Sheoldred, take 4. These cost 3 mana to play the rest. Could evolve into a 3/3 and play Underdog. Or play Sleeper plus Underdog. I think I'm just going to play Sleeper Underdog here. Alright, so they do get to attack me in the sky with everything, but I'm pretty sure it is not lethal. I should have evolved this one. Got 1 more damage in there. So yeah, they have to unearth the Frontliner now and then attack with everybody. Again, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. If they unearth and attack with everybody. The whole board gets +1/+1. Frontliner gives another +1/+1. They could use Veteran from their grave, but then they don't have enough soldiers to attack with flying. And if they just play defensively, they're at 4 life, so they just die on the crackback most likely. Sheoldred does 2 to them when they draw another card. This doesn't look very close on board, because I'm at 22 and they're on 4, but it's actually a really, really close game, because they're threatening to hit for like 16 to 18. But I think we're winning here. Guess it all depends on if their last card in hand is great. Alright, counter on the board with Veteran. Send in just the Harbin. Well, then they're definitely dead. I just hit for 2. Attack with 4 2-power creatures. One of them gets in. No, they have the soldier still. They have the soldier still. It could maybe survive. If I hit any removal, they're dead. That is not removal. But I do get to draw a card off this Sleeper now. Another Sheoldred. I won't have the mana to play another Sheoldred here. But I'm thinking I attack with everybody. This is essentially a 3/3. If they double block Sheoldred to kill her, then they die to my other creatures. So I just attack with everybody again. Yeah, I just need to hit them for 2. I need to be able to hit them for 2 and still have a Sheoldred on board. But that's super doable here, because they can't kill Sheoldred without also taking lethal. As my big concern is, well, what if Sheoldred dies in the combat? Well, if Sheoldred dies in the combat, then they also die in the combat. I think that's where my brain got stuck into not just immediately sending everything in. I was like, but if Sheoldred dies, then they don't die. It's like, well, they do, because then they're double blocking Sheoldred. They're not blocking enough other creatures to live. Alright, game 3. No 1-mana creature, but the rest of the hand is pretty phenomenal. Playing against a blue deck here. Doubling up on the Gixes is awkward. Another blue-white deck. Hopefully it's not that blue-white control deck again. That was pretty annoying. And my hand's kind of slow here if it is. Oh, looks like blue-white soldiers again. Hey, Chronic, how's it going? When did I start MTG? I've been playing since 2009. Alright, it is blue-white soldiers again. Definitely cut down the siege veteran here. Sending the underdog first to trade for reinforcements isn't horrible. And I can kill the siege veteran in response and they won't get the 1/1 token off the trade. If they try to do that. They don't want any trades. Alright, well, kill the siege veteran, then play an underdog and pass. Another siege veteran. Well, that's not good. That's not good whatsoever. Liliana just makes them sack that soldier token. I think I have to just play a Gix and just slam in here. Accept the trades. They had 3 siege veterans in their opening hand. I guess we scoop to that. Alright, I guess you got it. Triple siege veteran it is. Five mana. Liliana plus Sleeper. Liliana still does very little. Gix plus Sleeper, I guess. My biggest blockers, but they still have a veteran buffing the board every turn. Sky Strike Officer, that is also a super nasty card that gives them a 1/1 every time it attacks. Carbon also devastating. Their board is wide enough that if they attack with everybody, their whole board gets flying. Go for the throat one of their creatures. Kind of have to kill Harbin to not just die. And Sky Strike Officer's already drawing them 1,000 cards. Siege Veteran's still making the board bigger every turn. I would like to scoop here, but I will play it out and just kill Harbin. Could Liliana make them discard whatever they just drew, but then they can draw another card and just discard whatever land they draw off of those two, and they just kill Liliana in the sky. And they could really easily get around my board to kill Liliana. Or just put 1/1/1 counter on the Sky Strike Officer. Yeah, we had 2 options there. We could die on board to flyers, or we could die to them grinding out card advantage off Officer. Yep, they've got the mana for the Beachhead to give the whole board +1/+1. Yeah, moving on. Cannot really beat the triple siege veteran start. Great cheap interaction here. 2-drop, 3-drop. No 1-mana card. No 1-mana creature to play. I am going to roll with it. On the draw again, but it looks like maybe the mirror match here. Opponent starts with a swamp. Swamp number 2. Underdog is fine. Yeah, it gives them good value in the grave too. I don't think I cut down that immediately. Cut down's probably better to use on their evolving sleepers and stuff like that. It's the easiest trade I've ever done in my life. This is going to be a very good Liliana.
Enough with the mysteries. I've always hated clowns.
And they could blitz their underdog, kill my Liliana here. Fair enough. Now I get to go Gix, hold up, cut down. I'd probably rather go Gix Conscript here. Pass the turn.
Together, we are unstoppable.
Thanks for the follow, Chonky Donkers. I'm not going to blitz here. I'm just going to hold up removal spells with my Evolved Sleeper. They're going to kill Gix here before I get to draw any cards off of it. Yep. Fair enough. Drop a Sleeper, pass. Kill the Sleeper. Go for the Throat. I cannot stop that by evolving that, so sure. Cruelty of Gix. Okay. That does not do anything yet. Next turn they get to get the best card in their library into their hand, though. And then they get the best card from a graveyard onto their board. Alright, best card in their library is in their hand. Fleshgorger is the play. Because I can't kill that with either of my removal spells. That is very good in the matchup. We're trading here? Do they have a trick to reanimate that? Oh, they're going to reanimate it with the cruelty. I'm a doofus. Well, we were already probably losing here. But now we definitely are. Yeah, I've got nothing to kill the 7/5 Menace Lifelinker. Fine keep. Against a red deck of some kind. Now we have a 1-2-3 curve, which is beautiful. Playing against a blue-red. Go for Misery Shadow, go wide for Gix to draw us a lot of cards. Could get punished if they have one of their 3 damage to all creatures spells in hand. And they do. There's only 4 in Standard, so they needed to have 1 of 4 in the opener, and they did, so punished we are. Not punished that bad, though. Just kill 2 cards with it. 2 for 1's pretty fair. Thran Spider's nasty against our removal. Drop Sheoldred while they only have 1 mana up. Gix does not get anywhere. Italian's pretty good. I have 1 blue mana up. I only have 1 trick, 1 cut down. If they block with everybody, they can kill Sheoldred no matter what. Might potentially kill their whole board. I'd rather just play more creatures here. For now. 5, 6, I'm 1 mana away from casting a 7 power Fleshgorger in the future. We see what the Misery Shadow can do here. Clear out 1, 2, 2. Good enough for now. Thran Spider gets to start digging for more big creatures to cast, like the battalions. Sheoldred's doing her best here. Shoot one of these in the end step so I can just attack real aggressively next turn. I think I still don't. Do this. Just send everybody in. Draw 1 card from Gix here. Minimum. And this is all pretty okay with me. Buff the shadow. Yeah, it's all very good to me. Get an Underdog. A very good creature to put on the board, because even if it dies, we can blitz it later. Alright, they're digging with the spider. They do find a Mightstone and Weakstone to blow up our Sheoldred. Can't do anything about that. Okay, the sleeper here, pass. Okay. Blow up the Sheoldred. Do they also have another 3 damage spell? Turn lesson is not it yet. Activate a Mishra's Foundry attack with everybody, find lethal. Yeah, they're gonna scoop them up. We are 3 and 2 now. At least an average run to start it off. Doesn't feel like this one's gonna get there, but we're getting some good practice. And at least average. On the play with a turn 1, 2, and 3 play. Let's go. Very nice curve. And if there's no good reason to drop Liliana turn 3, never mind. Since I could just double evolve the sleeper turn 3, but now I have a Gix to play turn 3. Which we'll draw 2 cards off of if they don't have blockers set up yet. And they do not. So we will attempt to play Gix. They might have the go for the throat to kill Gix so that I don't draw any cards, but I still hit for 4 if that's their play. Alright. Hit for 4. Oh, it's going to be a beautiful Liliana of our own.
Those who get in my way tend to regret it. Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
I'm going to hit them for 1 less damage than I could so that I can hold up a cut down here if they play a valuable creature to shoot with it. Fleshgorger is not that. Another Liliana. Could just play another Liliana here, honestly. Just attack with both of these. A 1-for-1 trade is fine. This sleeper is going to be too big if I play my land first. I like land so I can buff this sleeper, which is really awkward with Liliana because then I don't want to discard any cards. If they don't go for any blocks, I'm going to play the next Liliana then. Means 2 mana to buff this. 3 mana on Liliana.
A fight? And you think you can win?
Make sure they don't gain any life next turn, and then we'll pass.
Always hated crowds.
Go through throat the sleeper. Play their own. We can cut down theirs. And hit for 3. Ooh, and a Gix to draw a card here. Huge. Plus Liliana while our hand is empty, and then we'll draw the card.
Drop it.
And they're going to scoop them up. We are 4-2 now, heading to game number 7. Alright, on the play. I don't have a turn 1 creature, which is always a bit of a bummer, but we've got a great 2 and 3 drop with 2 pieces of interaction. How does it feel? I mean, this deck feels pretty solid. I feel like it's definitely one of the best decks in the format, because you have all the... you have most of the stuff that makes mono black great in the first place. How the format feels? I don't love the format, but I don't love any constructed format. Definitely gonna take a few attempts, probably. What have I lost to? I lost to the mirror match. They were on the play, and they had a Cruelty of Gix that was really good in the matchup. And then I don't remember the other loss. Oh, a soldier's deck that was on the play and just curved out too quickly for us to survive.
I'll have this fight finished before brunch. Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
So it feels like you're very standard, just like losing some 50-50 matchups just when we're on the draw. Sky Strike Officer is horrifying. We can't let them keep that around. It's super awkward because I'd love to just play Gix here. But I think it's better to just kill that immediately. I should have probably kept that land in hand to discard to Liliana. Because no, I'm just not going to use Liliana. That was a loose play. I was still playing under the assumption that maybe we'll eventually make a 7-mana Fleshgorger, but that's not ever the line. That's just never the line. Should have just discarded the land there. Then Liliana would be big enough to make them sack another creature here, and we'd be pretty far ahead. Instead, things are not going wonderful. Hey, Quad Virgo, how's it going? If I play a Gix, I essentially have 2 3/3 blockers. I think I'd rather play Fleshgorger here. I'm going to discard the land, play Fleshgorger. I have Shadow as a 3/3 blocker and Fleshgorger as a 3/3 blocker to protect Liliana, and then next turn we can do the minus. That was I would be in a really good position here if I just discarded the Swamp to Liliana last turn. I'm doing okay. I'm not playing super hot. Just trying to get this event over with. It's not going super well because I'm making some misplays here. But we are 4-2 right now, I think. So I'm doing all right. Very excited for this evening. This is going to be a short stream today because I do have a... Well, that was an excellent deal. I do have a Dominaria Remastered draft I'm going to this evening. So I'm very excited for that. Especially because I haven't been out near my local game store in a while. And there's a Raising Cane's right outside, so I get excited every time I go to the local game store because I also get chicken strips right afterwards. It's always good. Always good. Oh, they've got multiple murals anyway, unless they top decked that. I can't activate any abilities during their turn, so I need to buff Shadow right now to protect Liliana. But that's pretty bad for me. Alright, Misery Shadow trades for the card in their hand, then Liliana kills one of their creatures on board.
I am proud to fight by your side.
Thanks for the subscription, Funky12. Yeah, Raising Cane's is great. I'm pumped. That's half of the excitement of the Dominaria Remastered draft today. Let's get some Raising Cane's. There would be a pretty good argument for keeping Misery Shadow if they didn't have a mural on board, but the fact that they have a mural means this thing blocks as a 2/2, because I can't activate it during their turn. So Fleshgorger is just the better card to keep around. Alright, so we kill Resolute Reinforcements with it. We get to keep Liliana, use Liliana to make them a sack. Probably the Veteran here. And then with Gix I get to draw a card. I should probably draw a card before I do anything with Liliana, just in case. Just see what's up. A Sheoldred. Yeah, just make them sack a thing.
This was boring anyway. Knew this was one of your friends has to leave.
Sack the Veteran because they can exile it from grave for some value later. I think we're like very slightly favored right now. Things look very, very even, right? They have 2 cards on board and 1 in hand. I have 2 cards on board and 1 in hand. They also have a Veteran engraved for value, but I think my cards are a little better. Oh, I forgot. I didn't read the rest of Mural's text. Never mind. I think they are they're slightly favored. We need to hit a go for the throat for Mural, or this card is gonna be a really bad time. Yeah, no, Mural's attack trigger's horrific. Horrific for us. Never mind. They are the one who is favored. That is not removal. Attack with Fleshgorger, they block with Guardian and a 1/1, discard their card in hand to protect Guardian. If I attack with Fleshgorger and Gix, they can double block Gix to kill Gix. Then they wouldn't block Fleshgorger at all, and I would maybe get a card draw there. I feel like card draw is important enough to just attack both here. Get more likely that one of these connects. And if I don't connect now, I'm never going to hit them, because they just keep getting more and more and more soldiers. They just snowball into a million of them. Okay, so they're going to kill Fleshgorger and chump Gix to stop me from drawing any cards here, which is brutal. I have no shot of drawing into the removal from Mural this turn. It doesn't really matter where I put the damage here. And now they even have a frontliner engraved they can use to attack with Mural as a 4/5, so that they can attack into Sheoldred if they use frontliner and Veteran. Because they can put a +1/+1 counter on Mural, make it a 4/5, and then they can use frontliner to make it a 5/6 on attacks. They can't do that both in one turn though, so I don't think Mural gets to attack this turn. Okay, definitely not. Well, that makes me really happy. They just used the frontliner immediately. They might have miscounted by 1. I definitely miscounted by 1 at first, but I got there eventually in my head. They need frontliner plus Veteran to be able to make Mural a 5/6. Okay, so enlist Mural onto the Guardian so they can attack into Sheoldred. Fair. They don't get a Mural attack here, so they don't get any 1/1 soldiers to block with. We can just block the frontliner here. They get to set up a lot of scries, but they're pretty low on life, and we've got a Sheoldred on board, which is good. So I'm feeling okay here. Blitzing an Underdog feels pretty spicy. At 18 life, that feels more than worth it. To just blitz it instead of hardcast it, to hit them a little harder, draw another card, put them to 2 life here. Or not 2 life, 3 life. 1 damage away from Sheoldred killing them. And draw 2 cards off of my combat instead of 1. Ooh, drawn to the go for the throat for Mural. No, yeah, we're just good. We definitely win there now. Again, I have to do that during my turn because I can't do anything during theirs as long as Mural's on board. Alright, lucky stuff, lucky stuff. Couple misplays there for sure, but we drew really well at the end to get us out of it. We're now 5-2. We're 2 wins away from potentially just getting this on try number 1. But again, one single loss is going to kick me out. So I need to start playing a lot tighter these last 2 rounds. On the play, 1, 2, 3, 4. Counting with Gauntlet. I gotta hit some lands. But if I hit 1 land, then the Gix is incredible here. Alright, 1 more turn to draw land. Land 3 means everything here. Just drawing 1 land this game means everything. If I hit that land, I'm playing Gix and I'm drawing cards here. So this is the final draw step. There we go. That is monumental, unless they have a make disappear. I guess they could also exile Gix or something. They have an ambush paratrooper. Resolute reinforcements. They could chump block both of these, but I think they just kill Sleeper and let me draw a card. Yep, so we are still drawing cards off Gix anyway. Feeling good here. Feeling good. 1 more land obviously gets us to incredible places, because then we're at Sheoldred, but we're good without it. We're doing fine without it. We have Go for the Throat if they play like a Siege Veteran or something like that. And we just have a Fleshgorger otherwise. Well, now I could just play Sheoldred pre-combat. So if I get any Gix card draws, I gain even more life. But I think I'd rather play around like another reinforcement style trick just to be real safe. It's looking like our opponent's going to be on the back foot either way. I don't really need a million life here. And there is a trick. There's a Zephyr Sentinel. They can pick up the reinforcements with that to make that 3 power. And if they do, then they could block the Yawgmoth Praetor and kill it. So I'm going to go for the Throat here to kill that before they can block. Then I get to draw 2 more cards and play an Underdog this turn. And Gix is just running away with it here. They've got 4 mana, they can play Reinforcements and another card. Well, that's pretty great. Valiant Veteran plus Reinforcements means they're going to have 3 2/2s to block with. That is very significant. Double block Gix with 2 2/2s, block Underdog with another 2/2, let one of them in. I feel like I've drawn enough cards off Gix to attack with everybody here, because it's pretty much going to force them into a double block on Gix, which gets at least one of my other creatures in. I could also just attack with Underdog Shadow, but Underdog trades into a single 1/1 soldier. Shadow I can buff up, make it bad for them. I feel like I'm supposed to just attack with everybody, which feels kind of weird, because it's like losing my Gix that's done so much, but their deck with so many creatures, they're always going to be able to set up multi-blocks and stuff like that later. I could Sheoldred pre-combat, but then I don't have my Misery Shadow mana, and I don't think I need the life in this matchup again, because my opponent's going to be on the back foot the whole time. I think the Misery Shadow flexibility is going to be more valuable than the Sheoldred, and the flexibility of being able to play anything I draw into instead of being locked into Sheoldred here. This is really weird. This is the line? I guess they're playing around me having removal for the Veteran, but that works really well for me. Alright, A-okay, sure. Cool with me. I think they're playing around Cut Down on Valiant Veteran, because even if I had Cut Down, they would still kill Underdog with that. And there's the Cut Down, so I had it just a little late. Alright, looks like I am still just going to play Sheoldred and hold down the Cut Down here. So we could have gotten extra life value, but I liked the flexibility there. Exile non-land permanents. I can recast it for 6 mana, so I can recast her next turn. Okay. It'll be expensive, but I can recast her next turn. Plaza of Heroes. That only protects legends, right? Yes. Does not protect Valiant Veterans or anything. Probably gonna want to cut this thing down, but I could potentially find lethal if I just kill reinforcements and they don't have another blocker. So I'm gonna get a little greedy with it. Zephyr Sentinel. Okay, so they still have they have one blocker here. They have Zephyr Sentinel. Zephyr Sentinel has to block Misery's Shadow or they die. So I attack both. Gix hits them, I draw a card. I double pump. I'd have to triple pump the Shadow to make it eat the Sentinel without dying. I could triple pump Shadow and play a Fleshgorger, still pretty good. Could also just play a Sheoldred, but then I don't get any good attacks in here. I'm going to force the block on the Shadow here. Attack both while holding the mana up to threaten lethal off Shadow. And then we triple pump to eat their Sentinel without losing a creature. We draw a card, then we play a lifelinking blocker. It's plenty good enough here. Recruitment Officer. They've got the mana to use that ability or play Resolute Reinforcements, but they will likely have to play Resolute Reinforcements to not die. They're dead to 2 Sheoldred triggers, so I might just play Sheoldred now. I also have 7 mana to start playing 7/5 Fleshgorgers. That's an option as well. It's like either Sheoldred or 7/5 Fleshgorger. They have 4 blockers. They need 4 blockers. I could Gix ability. Discard X, exile the top X cards of target opponent's library. You may play lands and cast spells from among them without paying their mana costs. I don't really want to do that. That seems way too risky. Like discard 7/5 lifelinkers instead of playing guaranteed 7/5 lifelinkers. We get random cards from our opponent's deck. That's really funny though. I think I'm just casting Sheoldred and passing. They're just dead in 2 turns. Oh, they've got a counterspell in hand. Well, that's pretty good. They have 3 blockers? Wait a second, 3 blockers. Double block, menace, block, take 3. Put them to like 1 life. If I top deck another Sheoldred, they're pretty dead. Okay. We exile everything they block with as well, and they have to block with everybody, so we can exile the veteran. I guess they don't have to block Fleshgorger. If they want to block Fleshgorger, though, they have to block with everybody. Okay, this seems good to me as well. 100% kill veteran, and then I'll get to kill veteran and I get to kill the whole board here. Because veteran's no longer giving +1/+1. So Liliana off the top. They have a veteran and 2 potential soldiers to block with. If I just blitz an underdog, they have to block with everybody. So if I could go underdog, underdog, I could go underdog Liliana. There's plenty of ways to kill them here. Just go underdog, underdog. And that's the scoop. We are 6-2. 1 win away from just immediately getting the 7-win run. That would be super sweet. It's going to be a very stressful last game of Magic here, because it's the difference between only having to play 1 more game of On the Edge and having to play at least 1 more entire event. So let's see, final game. What do we got here? Final game of Magic, win or lose in this run. Opponents on the play. We have Conscript into Underdog and some interaction. And it's the Soldiers deck on the play. We've lost a Soldiers deck on the play before. It's a pretty brutal aggro deck. Feels like a matchup that is weighted pretty heavily by who's on the play, like a 50-50 kind of matchup like that. Resolute Reinforcements kills the Conscript at the cost of 1/1/1. I guess I just gotta play on the back foot here. Zephyr Sentinel is the play. Cut down is going to be very good against that. Although they have a lot of more valuable creatures like Siege Veterans and that one that makes 1/1s every time it attacks. Harbin's another one. Kill a Harbin instead, hold up a Sheoldred for later. Or now we've drawn into a Sheoldred for later. Pretty much everything in their deck can die to a cut down, so I think I'd rather go for the Throat first because it's more expensive. I'm pretty sure I'm going to kill Harbin here, though. Offer trades. No trades were taken. Alright, go for the Throat Harbin. Cut down the Sentinel while they're still tapped out. It's fine, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Rather wait a little bit and see if they go for like a pre-combat Siege Veteran for me to cut down instead. They do not go for a pre-combat Siege Veteran, so I will just cut down the Sentinel. Alright, we're at 14, they're at 13. But there's a Siege Veteran. After everything, not going for any combat +1/+1 counters. I can go for the Throated, or I can play a Sheoldred. Got solid attacks here. I'm going to go for attacks, and if they go for the trade of Conscript in the front liner, then I think I go for the Throat, and if they don't, then I Sheoldred. But if they go for the trade, they'll get a 1/1 off Siege Veteran's ability as well. Yeah, so let's kill the Siege Veteran, then they don't get a 1/1. They have a single 2/1 on the board. I have a Sheoldred to play in the future. Feels solid. Still definitely some great top decks they could hit, though, if they hit the card that keeps making 1/1s or another Siege Veteran. Those would be great, great, great draws for our opponent. So we're going to take 6, go to 8. Again, I've got a Sheoldred for life gain and a really big blocker. And just a land from them. Feels good. Feels pretty good. You get in with Underdog here. Taking 5 on the crackback if they immediately top deck removal for Sheoldred. So even if they immediately kill Sheoldred, we don't die on board, so just get that attack in. Even if they miss on draws here, they have Recruitment Officer's ability they can keep using, but their life total's under a large amount of pressure, so it's not that good for them. I have to assume they hit something here if they gotta think this much. Maybe a Soul Partition on Sheoldred and they have to decide whether they should attack or not. If they Soul Partition Sheoldred, then attack with both, they're dead to me top decking a Swamp. That would make a lot of sense. It's a potential draw for them that would make them think that much. But it looks like they just go for Recruitment Officer. See if they hit any creatures mana value 3 or less. They do hit the 1 mana frontliner. Very good draw for them. Additional blocker here. I feel like I blitz an Underdog. And I can also Cult Conscript. Because I have to pay 2 life to blitz it, but then when I draw a card, I gain the 2 life back anyway. 3 creatures attacking. They have to block all 3 to not die. What happens if they double block Sheoldred to kill her? Block there, take 3. Sheoldred's dead, but they're at 2. Then Sheoldred's dead. I don't know if I'm supposed to attack with everybody here. I don't know if I'm supposed to attack with Sheoldred because they could double block kill Sheoldred and still survive at 2 life. I send in this Underdog 100% for sure. They have to lose a creature. Otherwise they just die to Sheoldred. And then I get Cult Conscript up. If I swing both, they have to block both. Yeah, they have to block both here, but then they could keep like a veteran on board, reanimate a frontliner, get a good attack with Soul Partition. I won't die to that though, because I'll be at 10 life. Yeah, I think it's probably right. Everything but Sheoldred, since they have to block. Now I've got the Blitzers engraved that can threaten lethal. Guardian of New Benalia is the draw. There's a frontliner to get aggressive, but they're dead to the blitzes, right? Yeah, they scoop them up, and there you go. Turns out Mono Black is busted even in the On the Edge format. It's got almost all of its tools that it already had in Standard in On the Edge. And it's busted. I can make a bunch of misplays and not know the format very well and still get a nice 7-win run out of it. Got pretty lucky too. That definitely helped. Being able to turn a 3-2 start into a 7-2 finish is always awesome. But here's another look at the deck list. For anybody interested in that, this came straight from MTGA Zone, and that's the full Decathlon, by the way. Oh, I need to go accept my token real quick. We'll look at the deck again in a moment, but that's true. We gotta show off that that's the full Decathlon. That is 10 for 10. Let's go. Gotta love the emblem standard being out of order. We've got a token from Decathlon 1, 2, 4, then 3, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I had to play a lot of Constructed to get all these tokens, but overall it was a pretty great time. It was nice to play just a variety of Magic formats that I wouldn't normally. I actually had a lot of fun in Explorer. Emblem Standard was solid. Pauper was cool. But definitely, obviously, all the draft formats and the sealed formats were fun for me. What were the biggest downsides of doing this? Probably just playing Alchemy, really. That was the only part that was really like, oh no. I was worried about On the Edge, but we got lucky and we just got through in one try, so that wasn't that bad. But Alchemy was Alchemy was a bit of a grind. I'll be honest there. Well, that is going to end today's video. We will be back again next weekend with the Arena Decathlon Finals. And of course, in the meantime, we have call time drafts and some other very fun stuff returning for the daily videos. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send you more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to hang out in real time on the Twitch channel where this was streamed live, you can check that link out in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can also check out the Patreon link in the description below. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.